Evolving with the cosmos. The cosmos is full beyond measure of elegant truths, of exquisite interrelationships, of the awesome machinery of nature. The surface of the earth is the shore of the cosmic ocean. On this shore, we've learned most of what we know. Recently, we've waded a little way out, maybe ankle deep, and the water seems inviting. Some part of our being knows this is where we came from. We long to return, and we can, because the cosmos is also within us. We're made of star stuff. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself. Carl Sagan, the creative astronomer.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Welcome everyone to Gems from the Movement Traditions this week, which we are sponsoring by Still and Moving Center as well as the Academy of Mindful Movement. This is the week of the Earth, translated into Hawaiian, ka Honua. We are celebrating the Earth this week, in which we are honoring Earth Day. And we also this week are honoring a Hindu holy day called Sita Navami, which recognizes the birth of the Princess Sita, who was found traditionally in the furrow of earth that her father was plowing in. And so that seems very appropriate today, since one of our two presenters played the part of Sita in one of our Ramayana presentations at Still and Moving Center for Diwali. So it's all one lovely whole here. Jade Chan and Dishan Shah are our presenters. They are Qigong teachers for us at Still and Moving Center. They have made a number of presentations, wonderful presentations already at GEMS. They are both Academy of Mindful Movement graduates. They also are people who truly, truly love not just that they love nature, they are true students of nature, I would say. When they spend time in nature, it is with the express purpose of learning what it is that nature has to teach them on any particular day that they're spending time in nature. And so they have really cultivated an exquisite relationship with the earth and its creatures through these practices of theirs. They have some experience with Taoism as a philosophy. As I mentioned, they are also practitioners of Qigong and lovers of nature. So from that perspective, we look forward to hearing a presentation from Dishen and Jade on the earth, Ka Honua.
Hello, Renee.
Can everybody see our screen okay? Wonderful. Mahalo nui, Renee, and aloha and namaste, everyone. So wonderful to see all of you. And let's begin by taking a slow, deep breath in and holding it at the top. And slowly release. Let's sink into this beautiful present moment. Life is a miracle. And I'm not talking about the miracles that we hear in the news. It's the everyday miracles that we have a living breath, a living breathing body, a vessel. Our breath is a miracle. The earth beneath our feet and the earth that same Earth is orbiting the sun. In honor of Earth Week, today we'll be sharing about Qigong, exploring some of the ancient Taoist philosophy that it draws from, experience a short Qigong practice, and end with a short nature film that we created. What is Qigong? Qigong is a moving meditation practice from ancient Chinese philosophy with movement, with breath, and intention. The word Qi means life force energy, the life force that flows through all living beings. And Gong means cultivation, through practice over time. So together, Qi Gong, it's the art of cultivating your life energy and connecting with the universe life force energy, known as Tao, the way, or nature. It has many names. In Qigong, it's not about getting stronger or faster. It's really a practice of listening to your body, to your breath, and to the quiet intelligence that lives underneath all of your thoughts. It's really cultivating your vitality and your longevity. And the ultimate goal of Qigong is to become one with nature, because all of the movements in Qigong are inspired by nature. And it's also to be in a state of Wu Wei. Wu Wei in Chinese means effortless action. It's a beautiful principle in Taoism, and it's describing like being like water and finding its way downhill. It just flows naturally. Water just flows through any rocks or cracks in its way. And Qigong is grounded in this philosophy. So the Taoist philosophers, they discovered that every human being carries three treasures: Jing, Qi, and Sun. So Jing is your essence, it's your physical vitality, it's the life force that you were born with. And it lives in our lower belly, and what we call this the lower dantian. Think of it kind of like earth, the soil, dense, nourishing, and it's the foundation that everything grows from. And Qi is your vital energy. It's your breath, your intuition, the way sometimes your heart just knows things before your mind does. It lives in your chest, the middle dantian, and think of it kind of like water. It's flowing and always circulating everywhere. And Sun is your spirit. It's pure awareness, the luminous part of you that's aware of everything else. It is experienced between your forehead, the upper dantian. Think of it like sunlight. It's formless, it's boundless. You can't hold it, but it illuminates everywhere. And what's beautiful is that these three treasures, they are not separate. They transform into each other. Jing becomes Qi, Qi refines into Sun, and Sun returns to the source. And this idea, this framework, it connects to something much older, a piece of wisdom written 2,500 years ago called the Tao Te Ching.
This is a wonderful poetic chapter from Tao Te Ching, which was introduced by a sage named Lao Tzu. Let me read it slowly. The Tao is great. Universe is great. Earth is great. The human being is great. These are the four great powers. And then he lays out an order. Humanity models itself on the earth. Earth models itself on universe. Universe models itself on the Tao. And the Tao models itself on Tzu Ren. Now Tzu Ren is often translated as quote-unquote nature, but that's not quite right. It literally means self-so. that which is so of itself without any force, the way things naturally are when nothing interferes. So the Tao, the source of everything, doesn't follow some higher power. It follows its own nature. It just is. Now remember the three treasures which Jade just talked about: Jing, Qi, Sun. Watch what happens when we put them in the next slide. So let's look at this framework. These are the four circles which is nested inside each other. The Tao is on the outside, universe inside that, earth inside that, human at the center, and at the very core it's Surun. Now here's I want you to see. While this may serve as a map to see the universe outside, but at the same time, here's an intriguing part. It also serves as a map to see inside of you. Remember the three treasures? Jing, your essence, that's your earth layer. Qi, which is your vital energy, that's your universal energy flowing all across and circulating everywhere. Sun is your spirit, that's your Tao layer. The same structure Lao Tzu described in the cosmos about 2500 years ago, and they found it inside the human body. And human follows earth. What it means is your body follows natural rhythms. Earth follows universe. What it means is your rhythm also follows a deeper knowing. Universe follows the Tao because that knowing arises from an unseen source. And the Tao follows Surun. The source just is what it is. So the question comes, can we actually experience this? Can we actually feel these layers within ourselves? Short answer is yes, we can. And that's what Qigong is for. And Qigong is one of the expressions for us to experience those different layers. There's so many beautiful practices from the world. So I would love for us to practice a short Qigong 5-minute practice together if everyone is ready. And if you can, I would invite you to stand. And if you want to sit, that is also fine. We will be doing this practice by following our breath and by sensing our body.
Hey, Dishen, maybe thank you. Perfect.
Thank you, Renee.
So our intention is going to be to connect with the nature. And our body anchor is going to be our hands. So let's bring our legs shoulder width apart. Our hands are going to be on our side. Let's take a moment of awareness by closing your eyes and allow yourself to sense the ground beneath your legs. Feel that wonderful groundedness. Sense the top of your crown connected to the wonderful universe above you, allowing your spine to be straight and erect. Now bring your awareness on your breath, breathing in slowly and deeply, and breathing out mindfully. Slowly, we bring our awareness back to our body. You can open your eyes. Your palms are going to be right in front of your lower dantian. As you breathe in, raise your palms above, connecting to the heavens, and bring that energy down towards your lower dantian. Breathing in, your hand rises. Breathing out, the energy flows down. Once you know the motion, I invite you to close your eyes and move within. This motion is called as connecting to the heavens. And our intention is to use our hands to draw this wonderful universal life force energy and draw it down from the center of our forehead, down our heart, towards the center of our body, our lower dantian. Allow your movements to be slow, graceful, effortless. Everybody sense your shoulders. Everybody sense the palms of your hands. Everybody smile and sense that wonderful opening of your cheekbones on your face. And slowly we come back to the center. You can open your eyes. We are going to move our legs in a horse stance with knees slightly bent as per your comfort. You can also just stand straight if you prefer. We are going to raise our left hand up. We are going to breathe in, scoop the energy. As we breathe out, we are going to shift our weight and let our palms flow across. Breathing in, scoop the energy. Breathing out, the chi flows. Your eyes are following your palms, completely focused. You can change your palms so you can flow with your another hand. Your body keeps flowing left to right and your palms is just flowing across slowly and softly. Now let's use both our hands together. We are going to transform the energy. We are going to let the palms flow across. Breathing in, breathing out as the chi flow across. Once you know the motion, I invite you to close your eyes and move internally. This motion is called as hands waving like clouds. Our intention is to flow softly and gracefully like the clouds which are floating up in the sky. Wherever the air flows, the cloud just flows without any force. It just flows naturally. Allow yourself to flow effortlessly and gracefully in your body, however it feels comfortable to you. And our intention is to experience our hands as being the clouds. Are we allowing ourselves to flow in the direction of our callings, our effortless self, our loving self, our joyful being? You can slowly come back to standstill. Palms facing up, right in front of your lower dantian. And your legs are going to point, your toes are going to point in a V shape. Your ankles are together, your feet are pointing out. And our hands are going to be on our side. Breathing in, we bend our knees softly. Your hands rises up. Breathing out, your palms flows down. Slow deep breath in, pinching our fingers. Slow deep breaths out, your hand releases. Once you know the motion, I invite you to close your eyes and visualize yourself like this beautiful white crane that is flying in the air. This motion is called as crane flying, and our intention is to be open our heart, allow ourselves to feel that gratitude, the softness, the elegance of movement. Your hands are like the feathers of the crane, flowing softly, flowing in the direction, in alignment with nature. And experience that wonderful soaring up in the sky, or maybe you're flying low around the earth. Slow deep breath in, slow deep breath out. And slowly we come back to stand still. Your legs come back to shoulder width apart. Palms facing, hugging your lower dantian. Let's take a moment of awareness, closing our eyes, sensing that deep stillness, allowing ourselves to sensing our breath, keeping soft smile on our face. All the wonderful experiences of nature we did, they were experienced through you. While nature is outside, just like the bird is singing from somewhere right now, they are being experienced through us, and we are nature. You can slowly open your eyes, soft gaze, you can come back to your screen. I'm going to share my screen again. Excellent job, everyone. You all did so great. So here's what we came to understand through this short 5 minutes Qigong video or practice. When you make that journey inwards, you naturally also connect with the source and the Qi, the life force within yourself. And you realize the same source also lives inside everybody else, in the trees, in the rivers, in the mountain, the stars. The breath you just took, it is by actually exhaled by a tree at some point. The water in your body once flowed in the river. The atoms in your bones were created in stars millions of years ago. And we are not separate beings, we are all connected. We don't live in nature, we are nature, becoming aware of itself. And that's what makes me say, life is a miracle.
Thank you so much, Dixing, for guiding us through the beautiful short Qigong practice, and thank you all for trying. You all did so beautiful. And as Renee said earlier, we are grateful to be great students of nature, and we so often find ourselves in constant awe of what nature reveals to us, that it becomes a simple daily practice to just pause, observe, and also capture her beauty. So we wanted to share a short film that we created through photos and that we captured. All the photos in here are captured by Deshane, and then there's also some short videos in there that we shot in Hawaii and in different places around the world. And this is the first time that we are sharing this video, so we're very grateful and excited, and our hope is to that we can all understand we are part of nature and we are all caretakers of nature. So we're going to play the film. We'll also put it in the chat just in case there's any technical difficulties. You can still watch it after.
Life is a miracle. Life is far more alive, precious, intelligent, and tender than we believe. You only have to look and you'll see the miracle in every day. It's a gift that opens our hearts to gratitude. A bird expressing its divine love. A peacock's cosmic vibrations. A flutter of a butterfly's wing. A blossoming of a flower. There is extraordinary in the ordinary, all around us. We so rarely stop to look at nature. We so rarely marvel at what's right in front of us. Begin by opening your eyes and really sensing the moment when we are still enough to stop and smell the flowers, to feel the wind in our hair, to sense the qi and energy, to marvel at nature's creativity, to know that even silence has its own texture, to feel the gratitude and joy penetrating our hearts, to realize we are all connected. What does it mean, the word inspiration? To live in spirit. You are not separate from it all. You are one with the miracle of life. Our wish is for you to open your heart to all of these blessings, to marvel at life. Let the beauty overflow into your creativity, your purpose, how you carry your life. And realize we are all caretakers of this one precious life. We are all caretakers of nature, its endless beauty, its endless creativity. Life is a miracle.
Ah, oh, how truly inspirational. Thank you both so much. That's wonderful.
Mahalo nui, namaste, and sheshe. Thank you so much. And we are very grateful for you all and for Mother Nature and for the earth and to celebrate this Earth Week together. We're happy to answer any questions or hear your experiences as well. Renee will let you.
Yeah. I guess I would like to make an opening comment about my experience with a very related practice, which is Tai Chi, which I got to do for about 5 years with our first Tai Chi teacher when we first opened Stella Moving Center. And I found the practice, which I also find Qigong, when I have the opportunity to do that, to be truly grounding. And for me, this was very important. I have a very Tigger the Tiger kind of bouncy nature, and it used to be very difficult for me to, well, it was very difficult for my students to follow me in Nia, even though Nia is supposed to be a non-impact activity. There's an athletic form of Nia that you actually do leave the ground, and I find myself doing that quite a bit. It's very natural for me to bounce. So it was remarkable for me to be in a practice of Tai Chi, which is, as I mentioned, so similar to Qigong. It just does more movement across the floor in my experience of the physical differences between the two. That's one of them. But to just find this dantian, this lower dantian that you spoke of, which you are also connecting with the earth, was a very, very grounding practice from the physical standpoint. And I think it did something important for my nervous system and my spirit to be able to be comfortable moving more closely with the earth itself. So I want to make that as an opening comment. And I wanted to ask you how in to you the earth itself as one of the aspects of nature distinguishes itself? What is it about the earth that has a certain difference to you than like the butterfly over the earth or the clouds or, you know, these other elements of nature?
I think the lower dantian is also the source for Jing, which is our essence, our life force energy. And the immediate things that come to my mind is the food that we eat. It's actually coming from earth. And it is one of the main sources of energy for us to bring ourselves to energy along with some mindful movement. And so what we eat, what we drink, how we flow, our habits, our human habitual nature, that is very earthly nature for me. And it directly influences how we allow ourselves to move in the rhythm of nature, or rather earth specifically. So that's my initial answer, and others can also chin.
Thank you. Carolyn.
Well, Earth is full of potential that is invisible. And you almost feel very bad, you feel badly about walking on it. But I think that's it's constantly giving energy and life energy to all that surrounds it. And you just, it's kind of like a constant miracle to see how it nourishes seeds and whatever else is in the earth. It nourishes particular life forms so that things grow and then they can go on, be part of a cycle of nourishment. So I just always see it as kind of an invisible source of fulfillment of some sort of use of energy.
Wonderful. Thank you. Robert.
You have been practitioners for some time, it seems, anyway. So you've developed some sense of inner balance and harmony. So how do you look at so much of life now is out of balance? It's really, you're talking about food. I mean, people often eat terrible food from, tortured animals and poison plants. And then, we insist on bloodshed and brutality. So I just wonder what your perspective was on these things from a standpoint of developing individual balance and harmony.
Mahalo for sharing and asking such wonderful question. I think one thing immediately that comes to my mind right now is balance is always going to be very subjective to each beings. Just like what a tiger will eat will be so different than what a goat will eat. Understanding your true nature is one of the first steps, because if you understand your nature, you are coming closer to your dharma, your purpose on this earth. And it is very diverse than what our human mind can even fathom and imagine, because we can only fathom what our mind has came to realization. And while it is good to understand different perspective, in my viewpoint, it is one's own duty to find your own true nature live fully by that and share that energy outwards from that same source that you have came to realize. And the one who is aligned or is seeking similar energy will get influenced or inspired through that energy. So that's my short answer.
That's a very good answer. Thank you.
For example, if you actually were the character of Ram, whom you played in the Ramayana, he was from the princely caste, not the priestly caste, and he carried bow and arrow. He probably would have been eating animals, and that would have been in accordance with his nature, being born into that body and that role. Would that be kind of an example of what you're talking about, Disha?
The bow and arrow is, first of all, great question. The bow and arrow is a tool, not to be misunderstood as your nature, depending on what your intention is with the tool. And you do have that conscious choice what you want to do with that. And from the Ram's perspective, and one answer may not be applicable from someone else's perspective because Ravan is totally different. So from Ram's perspective, he picked up that bow and arrow for the well-being, for making sure he can serve others, to help people to not get people who are out of in danger. How can I save them? And that's the conscious choice he made. And he lived through that nature. What does it mean in all different aspects of his life? Can I bring that alignment, those choices in all different areas of my life?
I'm thinking in terms of our own family, we brought all of our kids up to be with a vegetarian diet. And as soon as he left the house, our older son immediately became an omnivore. He's a firefighter. He is an uber athlete. His body, his whole way of being in the world demanded a lot more protein than he was getting following a vegetarian diet. And that, to me, seems a little bit like what you're talking about, that different people are going to have what's appropriate to their own nature.
And absolutely. And when a need arises, nature will find ways to provide new ways, which is where the earth follows the rhythm of the universe. I feel different unseen forces will come together to create something new, which is hard to put it in words, but those energies will influence and will create new ways of living life, because we have created that need for ourselves in some ways. And you still have a choice. Even in those situations, you always have a choice and how you want to act.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I have a question about the concentric circles. I really enjoyed your presentation, especially the visuals. I'm curious about the role of humanity or human centrism in the Tao Te Ching, and also, the philosophy as a whole. There seems to be like two different schools. There's one where humans are equal to all other animals, creatures, and then there's another school of thought where humans are higher than all other animals and creatures. And I'm curious, what does the Tao say along that? Is it a very human-centric, where like humans are the caretakers of everything, or are humans just one patch in the big quilt?
I wonder if Bob wants to take this answer. I would love to hear from him as well. Great question, Skylar. Thank you for asking.
I'm struck with another part of the Tao Te Ching that says the Tao is the path made by walking. It's not so much that we as humans walk along a path, which is the Tao in nature. The more you separate, the more you cause a difficulty in settling into that natural way of being that is the harmony of nature. So distinctions become very counterproductive. The Zhuangzi talks about the fasting of the mind, and you fast the mind by letting go of concepts and ideas. And I think that's kind of the core feeling. And so you're not thinking, Chuang Tzu also said one day he woke up, he wasn't sure if he was Chuang Tzu having woke up dreaming that he was a butterfly, or if he was now a butterfly dreaming he was Chuang Tzu. That's fasting of the mind. We are butterflies, and we are dreaming that we're butterflies, and we are essentially, as you said, this process. And that's where I'm kind of thinking the more we separate from the process. I mean, being a vegetarian is interesting, but the Buddha once saw a tiger, a mother tiger, who was starving and therefore didn't have enough energy to give milk to her babies. And so the Buddha, sort of the opposite of being a vegetarian, offered himself as meat for the tiger to be able to strengthen to give that. And it's not so much being meat or eating meat or doing any of these things. It's, as you mentioned, the intentionality that somehow envelops what it is we settle into. And it's always strikes me as funny, as was mentioned by Robert, this is a very heavy time for us environmentally. But nature is functioning beautifully. Nature is having no problem with any of this. Yeah, we have extreme weather. Nature is extreming itself. It may be the point that the balance and harmony of nature will not include human beings. We may destroy that connection of ourselves to nature, but nature itself is going to go on beautifully, with or without us. And so there's a kind of sense where if we can get into that essence, then we're flowing along with it. And if we resist it, then we're flowing against it. And, I think, as Jade said, flowing with the water is a nice way of imagining it. Going against the flow is another way of being in the world. And it takes a lot of energy to go against the flow, to flow upstream, to resist. So that's how it's an interesting way of thinking, and I think it is about thinking about how our essence balances.
Other thoughts on this topic of the earth? What difference does it make in our lives as to how we think about the earth? How does it change the way that we live?
Well, that's a question that arose for me out of Bob's remarks, because I don't understand the place of mind in Qigong. So if you could explain that, how that fits in, that'd be helpful, because that's the archetype of what it means to be a human being.
And it's a wonderful question. I think first I would love to say some thoughts on what Renee asked. What does the earth play a role in our journey? I think it's interesting to know that earth is the only place where, okay, here's the thing. There's heavens, there's hell, and there's earth in between. In heavens, they both, one is experiencing ecstasy and blissfulness, the other is experiencing the opposite. But they both are bound by that energy somehow. And earth is the only place where you can consciously see both sides of the coin and make a conscious choice on what side you want to experience things from, so that you can perform whatever your purpose might be. And to the second question which Robert asked, what is the role of mind? Mind is the place where our sun, which is our spirit, it is, mind is also very, it comes with different layers. There is lower mind, higher mind concepts. However, if you allow yourself to be in a no mind state, then you naturally are able to see from the lens of the source. The way I like to say it is, let's imagine you have a mirror. The more dirty your mirror is, the less clearly you will be able to see the world. And the more clean your mirror is, you will be able to reflect the reality, the source, the way it sees. And I think as human beings, one of the role or duty we have is to make sure our mirror is always clean, to be able to see life clearly. And that's where the mind comes into the play for me.
It's interesting that you also mentioned that there's the plane of the heavens, the plane of, you might call hell, and then there's the earth in the middle, and that is the place of choice. Isn't that the essence of mind? Is that ability to choose?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And something that I was reading this morning was, without all these layers, the only reason the space exists is because we have objects in that space. If there were no objects, there is no space. What it means is, we require duality in order to understand the space. If there is no duality, there is no one to see anything. And that's where the mind also comes in. Jade just said that if there is no illusion, there is no enlightenment.
Mhm.
Go ahead, see.
Oh yeah, that's that one. I love this conversation. Coming back to the historical dimension a little bit, down to earth. I have been wondering for a while. You both have traveled a lot, and I can imagine this grounding practice has been really helpful through all of that. I've been exploring what it means to ground in a certain place. Like I was born in Hawaii, and it feels like I'm gonna settle here. And at the same time, I can see the benefit of traveling the world and kind of grounding on all of Earth. So I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on that, the kind of the benefit of grounding in one place and kind of establishing roots somewhere, and then the Thich Nhat Hanh likes to say that the home is in the heart, so wherever you go is home. So yeah, wondering what your thoughts on that are now that you're kind of settling in Hawaii.
wonderful question, Z, and a wonderful thing to contemplate on. I encourage you to explore that. And I think it also ties back to nature. What is one's personal nature? So if you look at nature, there are different types of birds. And there are some seabirds that they will travel throughout the year. It is their nature to be in Hawaii part of the year, to be in Alaska another part of the year. And then there are some birds, it is their nature to be in one place. So I think it is really your own inner nature and your path in this lifetime. But if you have that question within you, then there may be a spark to explore, and it's not a black and white, this or that, but it could be your own variation of that. And yes. And personally, I'm so very grateful for the practice of Qigong and other forms of meditation as well, and including making tea. Whenever we travel, we use that as a source to connect with the nature wherever we travel. We'll do Qigong in the high mountains in Taiwan and even in Italy in the Dolomites, and we'll do tea in the parks everywhere. And it's perfect to connect with the energy and the nature there, and also the people there. We drink tea in the mountains in different parts of the world, whether we make it or elders there make it, and learn from the practices and the philosophies there too.
I think partly the reason why we are here in Hawaii is because of the love for travel, and it allowed us, the way I like to see it is, different grounds, different parts of the earth will align to your nature, where you can do your dharma, you can serve your purpose. And maybe there are a lot of places on the earth which requires that sort of energy to be spread. Maybe it is part of, some people travel around the world for walking for peace. And depending on what you want to experience, how you want to experience, and then some way, finding a way connecting to your purpose will lead to making you feel whole. And as a being, I feel like we should avoid neglecting our true nature as much as we can, as much as we allow ourselves to align. If we live our true nature, we'll be able to see that in others as well.
Mahalo. Wonderful question.
Carolyn?
Now, you've shown us a great deal of natural things like breathing and motion. Is that enough to fertilize the earth so that it will, if you will, produce more life energy? Because, we do use a lot of fertilizer. It's a big business. But is that a bad thing to do? Let you might say higher states of thought and human exercise, that should be the fertilization method that we should use.
Yeah, great question, Carolyn, and I completely agree with you. I can give you my own personal experience. We do Qigong in our garden here every single day, and what I experience is all the dove birds. We are graced by so many wonderful dove birds, which we always see. They just keep choosing to come every single day for some reason, and I cannot fathom why. What is it about when someone is practicing mindfulness, the nature somehow find its way to nourish itself. And they have been flourishing completely and totally. I see one dove bird has been transformed, that whole one has led to two, two has led to 20, and they just find way to grow. I cannot answer what is happening, but I know that there is something when you bring your true presence, the nature will also find its way to balance itself. And it has to start with ourselves, bringing mindfulness, and there are different expressions through which we can find and connect to our being. And it does require you to connect with natural elements, whether it's earth, water, fire, air. There's different ways to connect to the natural source of that place, and that some seasons of the nature as well. And you have to find ways of tuning yourself to what is the current rhythm of nature and how can I become efficient and effortless in this motion right now. So some food for thought for ourselves.
I think it's an interesting question when we talk simultaneously within this one conversation of like a state of no mind and a state of mindfulness and moving with mindfulness. And what does that have to do with thought? What does that have to do with mind? Is what does it mean to actually move mindfully, or sip tea mindfully, or read a book mindfully, or watch television mindfully? What does that mindfulness consist of? How is it a way of using the mind? Is it a way of calming the mind? Is it a way of actually the observer self kind of perceiving through that mind in a very conscious way? It's the question. Bob.
As you were speaking, it struck me that mind, as Robert said, is what it's all about. But it's not just my mind. It's really, I think, as Thoreau said, walking in nature is a way of our mind attuning to the mind of nature. If it's raining, we are walking in rain and our mind is wet. If we let ourselves be that, if we resist it, of course, we don't experience it. We just are wet and miserable. But if we're wet and happy, then it's different, And one time he sat down by a pool and he knew there were frogs there, but their mind was so shy, he had to be patient to wait almost an hour for them gradually to come out and sort of recognize that he was mindful enough to be quiet enough for them to come forth. And so the mind is not our mind and the mind of nature. It's our attuning our mind in a kind of resonance with the mind out there. And if we think of our mind as me, then we're in trouble. We've got to fast away from those ideas about ourselves being the center of the universe and allow the mind to move through nature and really become the mind of nature. It just seems like that's part of what's involved is, sort of allowing ourselves to let go. And, as Dishan said, that's the essence. That's the balancing of heaven, earth, and man. And, there's heaven and hell, and our mind creates those ways of being. On heaven, we can be gods, we can be heavenly spirits, we can be demons, we can be demonic thinkers, we can be animals, we can be human beings. Lots of ways of our mind being in the world. And when our mind is that way, well, then we are animals. We are lions or greedy or whatever, and energy is going there.
Mm-hmm.
Mary, what kind of thoughts are you having on this topic of the earth? Ka Honua.
Just enjoying listening to all the different individual aspects, because really that is what resonates with me, is we are individual. Our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our interpretations are all going to be based on our life experience, and nobody has lived my life except me. Nobody has lived anybody else's experience but their own. But I'm just so grateful to have this opportunity to hear other people's viewpoints. Amen.
Yes, I always feel as if when we share like this, it allows us to benefit from each other's life experiences, since we have only lived our own, as you say, Mary. Yet when we hear from others and what they have culled from all their life experiences, it opens new avenues for us. Maybe we haven't lived the same thing, but we can still share some of the essence of what each of the rest of us have garnered from our life experiences. So it's a wonderful thing about conversation. Go ahead.
And I think it also allows us the opportunity to show compassion. You know, we may not agree with what somebody else is sharing, and it's okay to disagree, but I think it's very important, especially with the people that we disagree with. I'd like to think that maybe they had a traumatic thing happen to them in their life, and that's how they view the world, and that's how they project themselves. But that's when I try to hold back my frustration or my judgment, and just think, wait a minute, you know, you're not walking in their shoes. You don't know what they've been through. So thank you again.
Yeah. Thank you. Kathy, you're always welcome to join in with or without a video camera, but if you have any thoughts you'd like to share, we'd love to hear them. Yeah, she's turning her mic on.
Hi.
Aloha, Kathy.
Hi. Thank you, everyone, for this wonderful topic. So enjoying everyone's contributions. Last week, the Artemis 2 astronauts splashed down. I was so moved by it. And as the other astronauts before them, 50 years ago, they showed the Earth, this wonderful blue planet that was hanging in darkness, is the way they described it. And it seemed as though they were struck by that view, just as the previous astronauts were. And we could see that we are so small. But then, as Jade was saying, that how we're all connected. And one of the astronauts says, like, we are a crew of planet Earth. I guess that we are to help the Earth. But I believe this Earth Day and Earth Week started 50 years ago based on the astronauts returning and seeing the Earth from afar. And they showed this blue planet. I think that's how it all started. But anyway, I've been a fan of those astronauts since the splashdown and learning all about it, and seeing how we are so small, but yet very much connected. So I really appreciate this conversation, because I will, and Bob's saying to let go. It's our essence and the balance. And I think I'll pursue this Qigong with Dishan and Jade. I'll look up when you're on the schedule, etc. I think that would be my first step.
Yeah. Gosh. Kathy, that was such a beautiful share. I think I'd like to take that in and accept it and offer it up to Jade and Deshan as our thanks to all of them for their really, truly beautiful presentation that inspired that beautiful share and that image of this glorious blue planet Earth hanging in the darkness. And I'll read in just a moment one of the quotes for the week in our almanac. I'll just let you know that next week we have the topic of Buddhas of compassion, and we have someone named Ken Small. He's both a Buddhist and a theosophist who has spoken with us, or presented with us in the past, and he'll be speaking on the Buddhist tradition for the Buddhas of compassion. This is the quote for Earth Day in our almanac. To see the earth as it truly is, small and blue and beautiful in that eternal silence where it floats, is to see ourselves as riders on the earth together. Archibald MacLeish. Thank you all so very much, and most especially thanks to Jade and Deshan for their beautiful presentation and many fine comments, and all the rest of you, all these wonderful comments everyone made. Thank you.
Thank
Hello,
you so
everyone.
much. Mahalo.
Thank you all. Thank you, Deshan.
Oh,
Thank you,
have
Jay.
a great weekend.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
For the opportunity, Renee.
Thank
Mahalo.
you.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you.